Hi everyone. We're going to give it a few more minutes. It's almost 3 now. All right. Hello everyone. All right. My name is Tina Lilly, and I am a money coach and speaker with the Budget Banker. And I'm very excited to be here with Foster Kids United to talk a little bit about budgeting. So I'm not able to do a screen share, but I do have a PowerPoint presentation. So I'm just going to read from that. And then if you have any questions, just place that in the chat, and I will see that, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. So you can just do that at any point. So what we're going to learn today, we're going to learn what is a money mindset. So you have to have a money mindset to before you start budgeting, because if you don't, then you're probably not going to be successful with that budget. So you have to start looking at your money in a little bit different light. So we're going to talk about money mindset. We're going to talk about the importance of budgeting. We're going to talk about what a budget should include. We're going to talk about how to create a budget and helpful tips and useful advice. So what is a money mindset? Well, all of us have values and beliefs, and those values and beliefs were instilled on us as children, generally before the age of 8. And we take those throughout our entire life. And unless we make a conscious effort to change the way that we think, we will keep those sets of values and beliefs. And our parents, not knowingly, they're very unconscious about this, told us they had an attitude towards money, and that kind of was instilled on us as well. So there are 3 big limiting beliefs around money. The first one is I can't. So a lot of people think that they can't save, they can't pay off debt, that they can't have $1 million in the bank or things like that. And then the second one is self-worth. So a lot of times people say that they can't because they don't think that they're worthy. Well, we're all worthy. It is our birthright to have money, just like it is to breathe. And so we have to remember that and kind of keep that in mind. And then, of course, the third big limiting belief is victim mentality. And this is where the majority of everyone is victim mentality. So it is, we think that the world is against us. We think that so-and-so has more money than we do, or they have a bigger house. We're always comparing ourselves to other people, and it's not healthy to do that. Also, a lot of times looks can be deceiving. So we think the Kardashians are doing extremely well because that's what they project out into the world on TV, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's that way behind the scenes. And a lot of times people have a lot of money, but they're not happy. And what I have noticed with my clients is they spend money to create happiness, and happiness is found within. So we always have to go within to find that happiness. When you spend money to create happiness, all you're really doing is you're creating temporary happiness, because when you make that purchase, it makes you happy, and you release something called dopamine that makes you feel good. So we have to learn how to feel good without doing that. Now, let's talk about some of those negative beliefs about money. So I'm going to say some phrases, and I'm interested if you've ever heard these before. So the first one is money doesn't grow on trees. The next one is this is as good as it gets. How about good things come to those who wait, right? Why do we have to wait? The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Money is hard. Money doesn't come easily. one step forward and two steps back. So have y'all ever heard any of that? If you have, you might be living in a scarcity mindset instead of an abundant mindset. Now, a lot of times the clients that come to me are living paycheck to paycheck, and they have fear every time they log into their online banking because they are very passive with money and not proactive, and so it scares them. So we have to come to some realizations about our situation with money, so then that way we can create that budget. So if you're living paycheck to paycheck, that's no one's fault but your own. Okay, so you've got to own that. Also, no one else is causing this to happen to you. So you have to get out of that victim mentality. You are choosing this to happen to you. And I know we don't want to hear that. We want to blame it on someone else, but we really have to take responsibility for it. You know, we're not put on this earth to work, pay bills, and die. We're here to be happy and love and laugh. And so we just need to change our mindset and tweak it just a little bit. Now, there are some things that I do with my clients to help them change their mindset. And one of those is I have them do something called the Miracle Morning. And I love the acronym. The acronym is SAVERS, SAVERS. So let's talk about each one of those. So the first one is silence. I recommend you do this every morning. So what could silence be? Well, you could just sit and quiet the mind chatter. We all have it. So our brain is like a supercomputer. So it's constantly running scenarios, and it really wants to go negative. It wants to go to really bad scenarios. So we have to step outside of that. But meditation, prayer, you can do breath work. All of these things are going to help to silence the mind chatter. The next one, A, stands for affirmations. And so what are affirmations? They're just short little phrases that you can say to yourself to make yourself feel better about money. Tell yourself that you're worthy of abundance. Tell yourself that you're happy and grateful that you live in a permanent state of prosperity. Or maybe you say that, money comes easily to me. That's a really good one. All right, next is visualization. So I want you to visualize your financial abundance, right? And what does that look like to you? And we all should be thinking about what are our dreams or hopes or desires, and what is it that we want to achieve in the future? Because there's something called the art of deliberate creation. And we have to put things in place and take baby steps towards financial independence. And one way to do that is to visualize it. So visualize driving in that car that you want to be in. Visualize living in that home. Visualize several $1,000s or more in your bank account. It's a really, really good tool. And I have my clients do vision boards, because with a vision board, they're able to visualize their financial abundance because they put it on paper, and they can look at it all the time. Okay, next, exercise, right? So we don't think about it, but we really need to move our body, because when we move our body and get our blood flowing, we also breathe heavier, and it sends oxygen to our brain. So then that way we can focus and we can work on the things that are important to us. Next is read. So I want you to fill your brain with positive thoughts and ideas to improve yourself. And one great way to do that is read. And there is a direct correlation between people that read a lot and have a lot of information to salary. So the more you read, the higher your salary will be. And then the last one is scribe. So what I do with my clients is I have them write in a gratitude journal of all the things that they're grateful for. And when you're grateful for the job and the money that you have now, then more of it will come in the future. A better job opportunity will come in, and more money will come in because you're grateful for it in the present moment. So that's a great way to kind of change that mindset. Now that we've changed mindset, let's move over to budgeting. So, why is it important to budget? Well, first of all, it's to keep finances organized. It helps you to know where you're spending your money. So, I always tell everyone if you don't, so a budget's like a roadmap, and it tells you how you're spending your money. And I much rather have a roadmap of how I'm spending my money than to get to the very end of the month and not know where it went. So it's good to have that budget. Next is reduce impulse shopping. And wow, this can really help to save a lot of money. So, really thinking about a purchase before you make it. So, maybe give it 24 or 48 hours before you do it. Also, stay away from online because it's so easy to shop online nowadays. You can sit in your robe on your couch and you never even have to get up and go to the store. And most people will keep their credit card on their computer. And so when they add something to their cart, they click a button and it automatically pays for it. And that one of the things that I recommend my clients, if they have issues with that, is to start making cash purchases with everything. So carry cash with you. You're less likely to make an impulse buy with cash. Next, the reason you need a budget is to set financial priorities. Pay your bills. And I always tell everyone, pay your bill as soon as it comes in. Do not wait till when the bill is due, because then you could forget. Something could happen to that money. Just pay it when it comes in and then it's done. And, if you don't pay your bills on time, you get fees for it and late fees. And that can be quite costly. And that is a spend that you can avoid just by paying that bill as it comes in. Next, start a savings program. So I always like everyone to do an emergency fund and having anywhere between 3 to 6 months of expenses in that emergency fund. And it's only for emergencies. You can't tap into it for anything else. But if you want other things, so for instance, if you're saving up for a down payment on a house, or you're saving for that new car, or you're saving for a vacation or for Christmas, you can do that in a separate account. Keep your emergency fund separate. Next is having a budget will help to reduce stress because, like I said, you know where your money's going instead of wondering where it went. And then, of course, empowerment, right? If we do not take control over our money will control us. And so I like to take control. And, there's a lot of things in life that we can't control, but one thing that we can is how we spend our money. Okay, next is what should a budget include? So, of course, should include all of your income. So, I want you to think of the different ways that you have or what income. So, what are the different incomes? So, you might have a paycheck. There could be commissions. There could be bonuses. Maybe you have overtime, a tax refund, and you could have investments. Uh, you know, uh, you could have unemployment. That could be an income. Maybe you get cash gifts from your parents or from others. That could be income. And of course, you're going to list all of your expenses. So, what are your expenses? The biggest expense that all of my clients have is food. They don't realize how much money they spend dining out. And so that's one of the things we like to get control of early is eating more meals at home because you're going to save a lot more money doing that. So food cost is just one of those things. You're going to have housing costs, whether you own a home or you're renting an apartment. Clothing, you got to have clothing. You've got utilities. How about transportation, right? So you've got your vehicle, you've got gas, you've got maintenance on the vehicle, you have insurance on the vehicle. So there's a lot of different things just in transportation. Also, what about medical and medical insurance? Do you take vitamins? Do you take supplements? All of those things could go in that category. And what are your personal expenses? One of the things that I tell my clients is to make sure that they're enjoying their money. So I want them to include fun things in their budget. If your budget is too restrictive, what happens is you don't do it any longer. You stop doing the budget because it's so restrictive and it upsets you. Um, so make sure that make sure that you save for entertainment, whether that is maybe going out and hearing some live music one night, or maybe you want to go bowling, anything like that. I love the free stuff. I love to go to the library. I can check out board games. I can check out books. They even have Audible books now, and they have all kind of programming that's free, and that's free knowledge. So that's one of the things that I do. What else? Let's see. You might have some debt. So if you have credit cards, let's get those paid off as soon as possible. Do you know if you carried a $2,000 balance on a credit card at 28.99% interest, do you know it gets out? Do you dream about traveling around the world? Do you dream about paying off that debt, maybe having financial freedom? If anyone's listening to this and you're older, maybe you want to, create a legacy for your family and leave money to them. Maybe you want to start a new business, right? You got to have some money for startup costs for a new business, because you're going to need a website. If you're going to be an influencer on YouTube, you got to have the lighting and the camera and all the stuff. What is your passion and what is your purpose? A lot of times we live for our parents and we don't live for ourselves. And so think about what your dreams are, not what your parents' dreams are for you, but what are your dreams? And that way you can create a plan and start working towards those. Let's see. So how to create a budget. All right. So now we're getting into the fun stuff, right? So first, what I want you to do is I want you to gather all your financial information. So that's your bank statements, credit card statements, and receipts. So that way you kind of have an idea of what you're spending. And then you're going to write down your goals, dreams, and desires. And because we're going to align our budget with those. And then we're going to create a written plan. And I'm going to show you an example of a budget in just a moment. We're going to add up our income, and then we're going to subtract our expenses. And that way we're going to know what we have at the end of the month. Now, one of the things that I do, and I recommend all my clients do, is to pay yourself first, right? And that's going to help with your self-esteem, your confidence, and that's going to make you feel really good. So always pay yourself first and pay your bills last. What most people do is they pay all their bills, and then they say, well, whatever money is left at the end of the month, that's what I'll put in savings. Well, that doesn't always work out. A lot of times there's nothing left at the end of the month, and there could be a deficit if you're putting money on a credit card. So always pay yourself first. And the reason why is when you pay yourself first and you don't have enough money to pay your bills, then you got to hustle. You got to get out there and you got to make some extra money to pay those bills off. So it is going to set you up for a work ethic in the future. Also, do you know the difference between a need and a want? So a lot of people don't know the difference between a need and a want. We watch TV, and when we watch TV, they say you need this, you need that. Everything's a need. Well, really, we only need very few things to live on this earth. We need clothes on our back. We need food in our belly. We need a roof over our head. And yeah, in this day and time, we need utilities and transportation. But outside of that, really everything is a want. And so I really want you to think every time you make a purchase, is it a need or is it a want? Another thing I want you to do is I want you to think about the exchange of your energy for the thing that you purchased. So for instance, if you were to, let's say you buy a pair of tennis shoes and they're $100 and you make $20 an hour, you would have to work 5 hours to buy that one pair of shoes. So most work days are 8 hours. So you've worked almost all day to pay for one pair of shoes. So is that a good value? Giving up your 5 hours of your life energy for one pair of shoes? It might not be. Maybe you can find the shoes on sale for a lot cheaper price And that way there's money to put in savings or money to pay off credit card debt. Um, Also, what you need to do is on your budget, I want you to list all your transactions. So you're going to create a budget and then you're going to have transactions on the side. And when you list all your transactions at the end of the month, you can go back and you can take a look at that and you can say, was that a good purchase? Was that not a good purchase? And is it aligning with your goals? So I have clients do this sometimes where they will they'll make a purchase, let's say with Amazon, for some random thing that they saw on TV, and they purchase, or maybe they saw it on TikTok, and they make that purchase, and then they go, well, I don't know what category that's supposed to come out of because I haven't built a category in my budget for it. And yeah, there's not a category. So that means it's got to come out of another category, right? So that means it's got to come out of your food budget or maybe your vacation budget or your savings. It's got to come from somewhere. So think about that when you make your purchase. Does it align? Is it a mindful purchase? Does it align with your goals? Okay, and then next, I also want you to open a savings account. You will never save money if you do not have a savings account open. So go ahead and open that savings because you know that money is going to go into it. Okay, and that's going to set you up for success. All right. So another thing I want you to do before we go over the budget here is I want you to budget one category at a time. So a lot of times people get very, very excited when they start setting up their budget. And really we need to look at one category at a time. So I want you to look at like food. And what are ways that you can cut your food costs? Look at the transportation. What are you spending right now on gas? Is there any way that you could carpool and save some gas money? And if you really sit and look at each category by itself, it'll make a huge difference in the way that you spend and the way that you set that budget up. All right, so I'm going to show you an example of a budget. So I hope that you'll be able to see this. I'm not able to screen share, but if you take a look at this, you can see here, this is the budget over here on this side in blue. And you can see all the different expenses, what they budgeted for, and then what they actually spent. And then if they were on budget, it's the same color. If they were under budget, it went green. If they're over budget, it went red. So that way, this is kind of like a budget that I set up for my clients. And then here in the center, you have, now let's talk about what is sinking funds or savings. So sinking funds is, it's things that come up periodically throughout the year. So we have fixed expenses, that's every single month, right? So that might be the rent, that might be the car payment, that might be the insurance. Those are fixed expenses. Then we have something called variable expenses. Variable could be your food, it could be entertainment, utilities. They're not always the same unless you're on some type of budget plan. And then you have things that are like quarterly or semi-annually or annually. And a lot of times that's where people make the mistake with their budget. They don't budget for those items. And so I'm going to use an example here. So pet, right? So if you have a dog or a cat and they need shots once a year, the shots usually run around $300 a year. And so you're going along, your budget's doing great, and then all of a sudden it's time for the dog or the cat to go get shots, and that's $300. So where is that $300 coming from? Well, you're going to have to take it out of one of the categories, or you're going to have to take it out of savings, or you put it on a credit card and you pay high interest rates. So what if you took that $300 and you divided it by 12 and you put back $60 a month every single month for that particular item? So that's how I want you to kind of look at that. So it's really in your monthly budget, even though it doesn't come out but once a year. And then, of course, over here on this side, these are a list of transactions. And so listing your transactions is really important because then you can, like I said, take a look at those transactions later and decide, wow, did I really need that? Was that an impulse purchase? So you can start being more mindful and conscious of that spending. Let's see. Let me stop for a moment and see if we have any questions. And I don't see any right now, so I'm going to keep going. So let me share a few helpful tips for you. So I want you to, first of all, I want you to be realistic, right? Keep all of your financial estimates in the realm of reality. So a lot of times I have clients that will, for instance, vacation, they will, yeah, set some really outrageous requirements for that. And I travel all the time and I travel for almost free. So I leverage different memberships and different points, reward points to go on those vacations. And so you can travel very inexpensively. So don't get wrapped up in that. So just try to be as realistic as you possibly can. Also, food costs. That's a big one. People think, oh, I only spent a few $100s on food, when really they're spending 7, 8, 900, sometimes over 1,000 for food a month. And that's because they're going out to eat all the time and they're putting it on a credit card, or they might be paying with a debit card, and they're just not keeping up with it. And they wonder at the end of the month why they're always in the hole. Next is find a mentor. Find someone that has been successful doing a budget and get them to help you. And that's what I do for my clients, is I help them to set up that budget. Next is overestimate your expenses. So that way, when something comes up, you're not surprised by it. You'll have the money set back. Next is just do it. Just sit down and do the budget. I know we all think it's a daunting task, but really it's just going to empower you, because you're going to know, yeah, it's just going to make you feel so good to know where that money's going. And then, of course, I want you to regularly review your budget. And so when I first started doing my budget, I was like looking at it at least once a week and recording my transactions. But now I've done it for so many years, I don't only look at it once or twice a month. But when you first start, yeah, it might be something you want to look at daily. I don't want you to be obsessed with it. I want you to enjoy life, enjoy the present moment, but take a look at that. Okay, some more advice is remember to budget one category at a time when you're setting it up. Pay bills as soon as they arrive so you never forget about them. Next, I want you to live humbly with self-discipline and self-love, and always be in gratitude. It will give you renewed energy. Next is I want you to feed your happiness. When you start building a savings or you're paying down debt, you will start feeling so good about yourself. It really is an amazing feeling, and you're going to feel empowered, and you're going to realize that you have more control over your money and your life than you ever thought possible. So stop living paycheck to paycheck and start living the life that you were meant to live. And one other thing that I wanted to share with those of you that are tuning in that are a little bit younger is I have this wonderful sheet here that when I speak at schools, I go over this with the students, and it really is quite amazing. And it's really how you can become a millionaire. So, and of course, we all want to be a millionaire, don't we? Well, this particular scenario, the two kids in this scenario, one is named Ben and one is named Arthur. And it's very interesting. So Ben starts at age 19 and he saves $2,000 a month. And he does that for, let me look here. He does that for 8 years. So a total of $16,000. Now, Arthur decides that he's not going to start until he's age 27. And then he puts $2,000 a month. And from that point until he's 65 years old, which is 39 years, and he never catches up with Ben because Ben started earlier and had compounding interest on his side. And I don't know if you'll be able to read this or not, but anyway, it is amazing. And so you can look here and you can see that Ben ends up with $2,288,996, and Arthur is $1,532,000. So the earlier you can start saving money and putting money back, the better off you're going to be in the future. And I follow the FIRE movement. So if you're not familiar with the FIRE movement, it is financial independence, retire early. And so there are a lot of young people, and they are just killing it. They are working their tails off and saving money and saving money and saving money. And so they're retiring in their 30s and not waiting until their 60s. And then they're living off what we call the 4% rule. So they're taking 4% out of those investments, and they're traveling the world, and they're creating new businesses, and they're doing the things that they want, while the other 4% is still invested, and it's continuing to build interest, compounding interest. So anyway, there's a lot of different things that you can do with your money, and you just got to get started. And setting up a budget is the first way for you to get control. So I'm looking here. I don't see any more questions. So I guess we're going to go ahead and end. I want to thank everyone that joined us today. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. So I am on social media, Instagram, at The Budget Banker. I'm also on TikTok. I am on Pinterest. I am on LinkedIn, Facebook. Oh my gosh, and please join me on Facebook. So you can go at The Budget Banker on Facebook, The Budget Banker. And as a matter of fact, I have two groups on there. One is called Frugal February, we just finished off with. And right now we're doing Manifesting March. So really talking about changing mindset to manifest your dreams into reality. So anyway, please follow me on those. And if I can help you with anything, don't hesitate to reach out. I love helping people, and I'd be happy to talk to you. Thanks again for tuning in, and I wish you the best. Bye.